There we go. We are live. The Playbook. Gabe Zoda, my guy Keith McPherson, on the live today. How we doing? How we doing on the live? How we feeling?
KM and GZ doing it like we doing it for TV. We got the whole setup. My man Gabe with the graphics, like we on Sports Center, like we on Fox Sports or something. We got breaking news from last night that everybody's talking about now. So, man, I can't wait to just roll into this live stream. People will join the chat, and we will go all around the wide world of sport.
Yeah, I mean, let's get right into it. We already got people pouring in. Welcome to the stream. But Keith, I mean, were you up when John Harbaugh, that news was announced? What was your instant reaction to that?
You know, everybody kept saying, "Don't let him leave the building. Don't let him leave the building." I'm like, bro, he didn't pack an overnight bag. He's got to go home. He's got to dip off. But like, he spent so much time in the building. And when I got the report that he was chilling with Jackson Dart, like Jackson Dart is an easy sell. Who doesn't like Jackson Dart? And when he left, I'm like, okay, this guy's going to take a flight down to Atlanta to go meet up with Matt Ryan and Arthur Blank? Nah. He's not going to waste any time with the Tennessee Titans, their ownership group, and that mess. This is the New York Football Giants. John Harbaugh was the obvious guy. You guys were thinking about John Gruden. You guys were thinking about Mike McCarthy. A lot of you were content with Kevin Stefanski. This is the best case scenario. They got it done. John Mara, I am happy for you. And you know who is the biggest winner of all of this? Joe Schoen.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, everyone was talking about, oh, Joe Schoen was going to lock up these negotiations. What was his role going to be? I mean, it ended up being he's chilling. He's chilling. So whatever words he had to say, whatever vibe he had to bring out to kind of bring himself back into the fold. And I don't really think it was that as important as people were making it out to be. People were like saying all these weird things. To me, it was just, hey, you get these guys in a room, allow them to figure it out. I think John Harbaugh is going to have a lot of the say, but I don't think that was going to stop Joe Schoen from allowing this move to happen.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about Joe Schoen. I know most of us talk down on him. I know I said the guy should have been fired. I don't think much of him, but clearly John Harbaugh didn't have a problem with working with him. Clearly he met with him, talked to him, and said, "Okay, I can make this happen, and we can have a relationship here." And obviously, John Harbaugh comes in, he commands respect right away. 18 years, Super Bowl winner, like a consistent winner. And I think Joe Schoen will have no problem taking a little bit of a backseat, but collaborating with him, getting some insight from him, and moving forward here to make sure they have a good free agency and draft and build this thing correctly for the Giants to return to prominence.
Yeah, I mean, Keith, it's not like Joe Schoen has a history of not collaborating with his coaches. I mean, the only reason why Jackson Dart is the quarterback of the Giants is because he collaborated with his head coach and Brian Dable, right? So, like, I don't feel like there was a precedent of him being a dictator as a GM. It was always he was a guy that is willing to work with his guys. Fine, he has his opinions, and sometimes they're not so great, which is why I also wanted him to be fired as well. But now you have the coach in place, and you have a situation now with Harbaugh. And this is what I think was the most important part, because I wanted them to look at some of the coordinators as well, the Shulas, the Kubiaks, the Jesse Minters, right? Those guys as well. But I understood that the Giants needed stability. They tried the hot coordinator with Brian Dable, with the Joe Judges, and those guys in the past. It didn't work. So if you're sitting there with John Mara and the top of Steve Tisch and those guys, it was time for some stability. It was time for some experience in this room. It was time to bring back someone who you knew was a proven winner and not take another gamble on another guy. They obviously did that with John Harbaugh. And I'm getting some people saying, oh, this isn't the right move. John Harbaugh isn't the good coach he used to be. Look at the decisions last year. I mean, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'd rather that guy making my decisions than the group of coaches I've had the last 10 years.
Mike Kafka, Joe Judge, Ben McAdoo,
I'm good.
You asked if I was up last night. I went to bed because I knew it was going to be a flurry. All I said was, well, that was easy, right? Like they make the first coaching hire of the cycle. He takes one visit, he doesn't leave. And there were some people saying, I think I saw Madeline Burke was like, oh, he spent 18 years in one place, he's going to take his time. There's no need to take your time. But what I'll say is this. I hate how people have to go against People just have to be contrarians. People just have to think so hard and say, I've got it. I've got the alternate take. This is not going to work. He's too old. This is not going to work. No other coach has won a Super Bowl in one place and won it elsewhere. And listen, Giants fans, don't think Super Bowl right away. You have those Super Bowls you've won. You need to get back to stability, competing, winning games, maybe get to the playoffs. Crawl before you walk. I hate how people are talking about what happened with Lamar and Derrick Henry and the situation in Baltimore. You weren't there. And like Mark Andrews doesn't get blamed for dropping a ball. Lamar Jackson doesn't get blamed for not being the same MVP quarterback in the playoffs. Their defense doesn't get blamed. Like Harbaugh is the coach, but he doesn't get to step on the field and make plays. But he now gets to step into New York City with the New York Football Giants and get this thing right, and he will. The last four coaches, from Ben McAdoo to Pat Shurmur to Joe Judge to Brian Daboll, they hold no weight compared to this guy. The amount of knowledge and experience that he's going to bring from game day and everywhere in between. The Giants won. This is the best case scenario. They needed a coach with experience. They got the most experienced guy. You guys got to be thanking the Ravens. You got to be thinking Steve Bisciotti. Like, yo, good job, bro. Like, you guys, one man's trash is another man's treasure. You guys don't want this guy. He's down the road in Maryland, where I'm sure he's going to keep his house, and it's a 3-hour drive to New York. He can rent a place up here for the next 5 to 8 years, however long he's able to coach. And I just think it's a good marriage. I think it immediately gives the Giants some credibility, where this whole offseason is going to be hyped. And when you get back to MetLife Stadium, those games are gonna matter. They're going to have a different weight to them now with John Harbaugh at the helm.
And it sets an expectation. I felt like for the past couple of seasons, it was always, okay, they're trying to build something, but we still don't know yet. There's a lot of question marks. It feels like now with this team, with this young group of talent, it feels like there is an expectation from day one. From today, moving on, you know what you're going to get from a John Harbaugh team. And I think that is such a different culture just for incoming free agents, incoming draftees.
Yep.
You know what you're going to get as a player, because before you didn't know what you were going to get with Daboll. Is he going to get fired? How am I supposed to operate with this situation? You know that John Harbaugh is going to be there for at least 5 years, since I think they're rumoring 5 years, at least around $100 million for him. But now it's a situation that you have that stability, and you have a situation, the players are coming in, they know what they're going to get. And look, I mean, the rumors are already coming out this morning that Todd Monken's going to come with him as the OC. And I mean, you want to talk about perfect marriages, that there might not be a more perfect marriage than Todd Monken and Jackson Dart. Immediately, once Todd Monken came with Lamar Jackson, it was a different level of Lamar Jackson. The numbers instantly spiked up. He instantly won an MVP and should have won another one the year after that. Now you get him with Jackson Dart, a perfect marriage, of the RPO system, that run system with a good play action as well. That's what this Giants team needed, and now they got it. Like, I don't know how you can look, if you're a Giants fan or an objective football fan, and say, yeah, this isn't going to work. To me, it's just incredible. Anybody who gets on live or gets on anything and says that today.
Yeah, people just got to hate. People just got to be contradictory. They got to go against. There's no reason to think that this can't work. This is an optimistic time. This is one of the best days, nights, and into the next day for Giants fans in a long time. Todd Monken, all season, it was talked about Jackson Dart doesn't know how to slide. He doesn't know how to get out of bounds. We saw Lamar Jackson, who's a runner, right? Not bad for a running back. We saw him evolve in the passing game, as well as knowing when to get down and not take hits. Expect that to be drilled and coached into Jackson Dart with both Harbaugh and Monken. Monken is a savant. Like, this Giants offense is going to be ready to go. And you know what? Somebody said to me, like, oh, they don't have enough players. What? They have players. They have players coming back from injury. They have they have the coach now that's going to attract players in free agency, and they have the draft to add specific skill positions and play. Like, go ahead and draft Carnell Tate. Go ahead and get that number 1 wide receiver with that pick now. That's another thing I wanted to mention here. Like, to hell with that pick now, right? Especially because, okay, you got the guy. I know there was a lot of talk a couple weeks ago about, oh, the Giants need to be one of those top 2 picks because, like, okay, now Dante Moore is going back, and it's an obvious move where, the Raiders are going to take Mendoza. That's got nothing to do with you. Take the best player available. And I know Harbaugh and Shane and Monken and whomever the defensive coordinator is, like, those guys are going to bring in talent. They're going to bring in the type of player that fits. And for the young players that are here, these last 2 draft classes that Joe Shane has hit on, which literally has saved his job, they're going to get the culture shock, right? No more Abdul Carter falling asleep in the red light therapy room. No more nonsense. John Harbaugh is going to command respect and tighten up that locker room, and I know that you will see the difference right away. Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, you got those guys, right? Cam Scatterbu coming back from injury, Malik Neighbors coming back from injury, but you also still have Tyrone Tracy. Do they bring back Wan'Dale Robinson? I believe so. Like, there are pieces here on this team. Even in the Giants secondary, Javon Holland, Tyler Nubin, Drew Phillips, there's some guys. Can they get more out of Deonte Banks? Like, draft some linebackers. Micah McFadden will be back. I think there's a lot of opportunity here, and that's obvious, right? Because that's why John Harbaugh took the job. There is more opportunity that he sees here than in Tennessee or in Atlanta or anywhere else.
Yeah, and it simply has to do with that core of young talent they already have. He could have went to Tennessee. You had over $100 million in cap space. You have the young quarterback, but after that, you had nothing else. The Giants already have a lot more talent. I mean, even outside of the young guys, Brian Burns is still there. I don't know if they keep Dexter Lawrence, but he's still there, right? Like, you have these guys as well. And even if, as Kevin Matthews says, even if they don't go Carnell Tate, you have Downs or Reese that you could pick for the defensive side with that number 5 pick. And let's just talk about the picks, right? You have a situation now. I mean, look at what the Jacksonville Jaguars did last year. Travis Hunter didn't play. I think they had another first-round pick. He didn't play much this season. Like, and they still won. What was it, 14 games, got into the playoffs in the first year of Liam Cohen and that new regime in Jacksonville. You have a situation now. You don't have to just rely on the draft picks. You don't have to rely on the talent because now you have the coaching. And when you have the coaching, the talent that you once had that you were a little bit down on can be elevated to that next level. Will we see it from Deonte Banks, as you mentioned? I don't know. He might be a lost cause, but you're going to see it from the whole room. And that made the difference in a lot of these games last year. Having that extra experience, that extra knowledge and confidence makes the difference in a Broncos game, makes the difference in the Cowboys game that we saw last year with the Giants, right? Makes the difference in maybe the Lions game or maybe even the Green Bay game. And if you win those games last year, this is a whole different team if you had that confidence at the head coach and all of the coaches together. Now you have that, and I think you have a situation, once again, the Giants. If you're a Giants fan right now, like I am, I'm not expecting no Super Bowl in the next year. What I'm expecting now is a more competent group that is going to fight in every single game. And you're going to be able to see that, whether that comes out in a 7-win year, an 8-win year, no matter what it is, you're going to see that next level. And that, to me, is what excites me more than just, oh, they're going to be a better team, or, oh, they're going to be a Super Bowl contender in a couple of years.
Instant stability, instant respect, instant accountability. That type of stuff makes a guy like Deonte Banks stick his hat in there and actually try and make a tackle. That type of stuff. Like you mentioned, you're not sure if Dexter Lawrence comes back. Why wouldn't he come back? Like, stay in that same jersey. Now you finally have the head coach. I saw in the chat, regular Mike said Harbaugh is Giants' best hire since Coughlin, true CEO style head coach. Yeah. Right? He's not an offensive guy. He's not a defensive guy. Some people credit him as a special teams guy. How about that? The Giants' special teams has been a laughing stock for years with the kicking situation. No more. I guarantee you they have that squared away. I guarantee you, not like Brian Dable, they don't go into games where the kicking situation can be a complete mess, where if Graham Gano can't get it done or one guy goes down, then they have 3 different kickers come in. Like, he is going to be buttoned up. Like, what I love about the hire is you needed an experienced head coach, and people were talking about John Gruden. John Gruden's not going to get a job anywhere outside of Barstool. People were talking about Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy might be cooked as well. Then it pivoted to Kevin Stefanski. No, the Ravens fire their guy, and you get a guy that has seen it all, done it all in the NFL, and that's what the Giants need with this young talent and this starving fan base.
I want to get your opinion, though, on that CEO style of just head coach in general, right? Because outside of the Giants, I think the Giants needed their CEO types. But you look at other teams with the CEO style, and I mean, do you think that that is the future, right? Because you look at Dan Campbell, without his coordinators, Lions kind of cooked, right? Like all the teams left have a good offensive mind, have a brilliant defensive mind, or somebody calling the shots on either side. Are you pro CEO style head coach in the future, or are you pro more the analytical, tactical coordinator type in the future?
I'm pro CEO, especially here in New York. It's big business. This is a $10 billion plus team. This is a team that, like, you need somebody to come in and oversee it. It could get to be a lot for someone like Brian Daboll, who is an offensive mastermind, literally a guru. Aaron Rodgers said it. Anybody that knows Brian Daboll talks about his offensive knowledge and skill set. But like, okay, that helps when you're able to identify a Jackson Dart and, start him and get the offense going. But you need a CEO that can oversee everything, right? You got to be able to talk to the media. Brian Daboll wasn't great talking to the media. You got to be able in games to know when to call timeouts, when to challenge, when to go for it on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, when to go for 2. Like, you need that CEO guy like John Harbaugh that has seen it all, done it all, and has the experience to know in every situation what to do. And I mean, this is New York. This is the Giants. There's always something going on off the field. I think he will be the right guy to steer the ship here. He's been around the block. He's 60 plus years old. There's nothing that he hasn't seen. He'll put Todd Monken in place. We'll see who the defensive coordinator is. We'll see. But I would expect a lot of those guys from the Ravens to come on down. And I would expect a lot of other guys to be picking up the phone to say, hey, we want to be a part of this, because the regime that brings the Giants back to prominence, which this is looking to be it, they're going to be kings. John Harbaugh is already king in New York. He spent one day here. If he's able to win 8-9 games next year, and then in the second year go on to the playoffs and get this team to be a perennial contender, then like he is literally king in New York. It's been too long since the New York Football Giants have been the New York Football Giants.
And I mean, you talk about a couple of those guys that could be coming over, could be enticed. I mean, look at the free agents that the Ravens have, right? Tyler Linderbaum could come in, be the center of the future, right? Imagine an offensive line. Let's say they bring back Jermaine Illuminor, which I think I would, just to bring stability on that offensive line group.
He's familiar with Harbaugh. Yeah, why not?
You have Jermaine Illuminor on one end, Andrew Thomas on the other, and you have Tyler Linderbaum up the middle. Imagine the difference now, Jackson Dart having a middle of the line that is more secure. Imagine running, if you're Cam Skadoo, Tyron Tracing, running behind an all-pro level guy like Tyler Linderbaum. I would be enticed to do that. Does Isaiah Likely come over as well? He's a free agent last year from the Ravens. Does he like it, right? You have all these different scenarios now, and this is what we talked about a couple minutes ago. The free agents are going to look at the Giants so much differently now that they know that there's real stability there, because they know that there's no place to win like in New York. They know it. Obviously, there's no place to lose. You don't want to lose in New York either, because it might be the worst place to lose, but it is most definitely the best place to win, and that's the situation we're seeing right now. Who do you think could be that defensive coordinator for the team? Some people are saying could be Zach Orr.
Wink Martindale.
You want to bring back Wink?
No, there's no way they do that. That ship has sailed. Yeah. I don't know. Like the hot name.
Wink low-key makes sense, right? Was with the Ravens too, right?
I think they bring up somebody. I think they bring up somebody that we're not thinking of. If they bring over Zach Orr, just bring over the same group, that's fine. But if they want to go experience, like guys like Jim Leonard's name have been floated out there, Jim Schwartz. Like if they really want to go get a former head coach, a guy with even more experience to shore up this defense, because the Giants defense has been bad for a long time. Like they need somebody that's going to come in here and get that right. I don't know exactly where they're going, but I bet you John Harbaugh does. I bet you John Harbaugh has an idea, somebody that he's worked with. Maybe I'll ask ChatGPT, list all of Jim Harbaugh's former defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, I know Antonio Pierce, if he doesn't get a head coaching job, could be an option. Apparently, he really impressed in his head coaching interview with the Giants. A lot of guys in the building said they were really impressed with his growth over the years, his tactical ability, right? And they were starting to see vision.
When he was with the Raiders, though, I think he was a linebackers coach. I don't think he was a defensive coordinator. I don't think he's actually run a defense yet.
No, but I mean, if we're talking about somebody who's going to bring that extra culture, right, bring that extra kind of vibe. I mean, I know it didn't happen in his first full year with the Raiders, but when he became the interim head coach at the Raiders, that last couple of games of the year, you saw that fire with the team. You saw an ability to kind of command and lead a group to war, to battle in a situation. So if now you can translate that to just worrying about the defense, I think AP could be a guy that could come in and do that. I wouldn't hate that move. Once again, that's up to John Harbaugh and kind of his decision. But I mean, it comes with that collaboration, because I know the Giants might push for a guy like AP, but if John Harbaugh doesn't like that, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I think AP was a Rooney Rule guy. They got him and Raheem Morris in there right away so that they could hire whoever they wanted. They got the Rooney Rule checked off. 2 black coaches interviewed, quickly done. I like AP on CBS Sports. I think he's done a good job on television. I don't really see him as a defensive coordinator, definitely not with the Giants. I definitely don't think he's going to get an opportunity to be a head coach again. So ChatGPT listed Rex Ryan, and some people have already thrown Rex Ryan's name out there. I don't think he's just too big of a personality. Like, everybody that comes in here has got to fall in line under John Harbaugh. Greg Madison, Chuck Pagano, obviously said Wink Martindale, Mike McDonald, who, when we get to talking about the NFL, we'll probably start to segue into that now as we start looking at the NFL and the divisional round. I'm definitely going to have some things to say about Mike McDonald. And then last but not least, Zach Orr, who, took over in the last year and could be looking for a job and say, yeah, I'm down to come up there to East Rutherford, New Jersey. Sign me up.
A lot of options, definitely a lot of options. But one thing you do know is that you got stability, at least at the head coach.
Oh, we lost Gabe. Oh, now you already know. Showtime, baby. Just me. I think this is the time where we start to talk about Ryan Weathers. Just kidding. We're not talking about Ryan Weathers.
What just happened? It wanted to kick me out. I was vibing. It wanted to kick me out of here. Anyway, let's get to these NFL games. What do you say, Keith?
Yeah, let's get into it, man. Coming off of Wild Card Weekend, a great Wild Card Weekend. All of those games were pretty good, depending on what you were looking for. And here we are set up for this weekend, and I can't wait, because the level is going to get just ratcheted up even more. It's already good competition, comes down to the wire, but now you get the teams on the bye, and you're really going to see best on best.
And what game do you want to start off with?
We might as well. Let's go. As we're talking about teams on a bye, as we're talking about Mike McDonald, let's start with the Seahawks 49ers. They just played 2 weeks ago. I think that the Seahawks are going to wax them. Now, don't get me wrong. I have put a ton of respect on Kyle Shanahan, coach of the year. And that Niner culture, like, they lose George Kittle in that game and it doesn't stop them, right? Fred Warner is practicing. He's trying to come back for this game, but I just ultimately think it's not enough. And when I talk about Mike McDonald and I talk about defense travels and the Seahawks don't have to travel. And also defense wins what? Championships. So, like, I don't think Brock Purdy and Demarcus Robinson and CMC is going to have the game of his life. I don't think they go in there versus the 12th man and they beat a well-rested defense with all of those dogs that the Seahawks have. Former New York Giant Leonard Williams. I don't think. I get Julian Love over there, former Dallas Cowboy, DeMarcus Lawrence. I don't think that they are able to go in and pull this off again. The Eagles were prime for it. A.J. Brown, Doo-Doo Brown, A.J. Brown, crybaby ass, can't catch the ball, self-sabotaging the team. They got the best running back in the league last year in Saquon, not the same year for him. Like, the 49ers and Rob Saleh, shout out to Rob Saleh as well, they were able to steal a win and delight all of America to knock off the Dirty Birds down there in Philly at home. But I think the run ends here. They were held to 3 points the last time they faced the Seahawks, and I think the Seahawks are well rested. Sam Darnold, Ginger Cuz, let's see it.
I mean, now it's time, right? He started to win these big games. That was always his kind of critique. Oh, he can't win the big game. He's not at that level. Well, he's starting to win some pretty big games. He won the big games against the Rams. Now you're in a situation, now you can win the big game in the playoffs, move on. And it's kind of just a credit to Sam Darnold as a player and his growth, right? Because he was cast away. Nobody wanted this guy, whether it was the Jets, the Panthers. Nobody wanted him. He was done. He was cooked. He goes to the Vikings, gets into that system, shows that he got some life. He got some juice. He goes to the Seahawks, does the exact same thing. I'm pretty sure he's the only quarterback to win 14 games or 13 games with two different teams like Sam Darnold did, right? Like, that is credit to Sam Darnold. Now
yes.
he needs to just avoid everything else and just be himself. He's got the team around him. He's got the offensive line. He's got, whether it's Charbonnet or Kenneth Walker behind him. He's got JSN.
Jackson Smith and Jigba. Let's not say him first.
Yeah, I mean, he might be the best wide receiver in the league right next to Puka Nacua, right? So that's a situation where you have to win that game. I don't think it's something where, oh, well, we'll just see what happens. You have to win that game, no matter who's on the other side. It's just that type of game, that type of season for the Seahawks.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to see it. I love the Pacific Northwest. Went out there for the All-Star game in 2023, and it really opened my eyes to the Emerald City of Seattle, their culture, and what it is out there. And what I love is, like, the Seahawks organization is pressing their fans. The Niners travel well. They were out there in Philly. You Giants fans know they absolutely took over MetLife Stadium this year. Niner faithful, bang, bang, Niner gang, and all that. But the Seahawks organization have reached out to their season ticket holders. Like, they're dead ass about that 12th man. They're dead ass about that home field advantage up there. Their team is back, the number one seed. And I think that they walk into the Super Bowl. But I love that they're saying, hey, don't be selling your tickets. If we see that you sold your tickets, put your tickets on the resale market so that some red jerseys can come in here and take over, we're going to have words about it. So, like, they are trying to make sure they have home field advantage. They're rested. Brock Purdy bounced back, coming back from the injury. Who else do I need to show love? Kyle Juszczyk. You can use him in a bunch of different ways, but, like, without Kittle, without Warner, this whole year they didn't have Brandon Ayuk. I don't know if Ricky Pearsall is going to be able to go this week. Like, they're out there with Kendrick Bourne. They're out there with Juwan Jennings. Shout out to Juwan Jennings. I don't think it's enough against, Witherspoon and Eamon Worry and just like I'm so impressed with the Seahawks defense. Every level of that Seahawks defense is tough.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough, especially in the trenches where obviously it matters, and especially if the 49ers want to get that run game going with CMC. It's going to be a battle in those trenches. Can you build those holes? And I don't think you're going to be able to against the Seahawks defense, especially with an offensive line for the 49ers that I'm not too confident in all the way around, right? Now, obviously, you have Trent Williams, but outside of that, I'm not really confident in their offensive line. I haven't been all season. So now you have a situation where you're going to have to come up with your A game against this defense, especially in the trenches. I don't think they'll be able to do that. Stoner Detectives, hit that like for the algo. Follow Keith McPherson. Follow the playbook. Follow all of us. Let's get this going. Let's keep this ride moving here. About half hour into here, starting off on these division round games. You want to move over to the Bills Broncos now? Because I got some things to say about that.
Yeah, take it away.
I don't think this game's going to be close. I think a lot of the lines makers, I think everyone's saying that the Bills have a legit chance in this game. It's almost a pick-em of sorts because the Broncos are coming off the bye. They're maybe projecting a little bit of rust. I saw a lot of videos calling the Broncos a complete fraud team. I don't think it's going to be close in this game. The trenches will be dominated by the Broncos. I like the defensive weapons that the Broncos have. And who in the world is Josh Allen going to throw the ball to in this game? Shavers just tore his ACL.
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks? Like, who? PS2 isn't going to lock down Brandon Cooks? Like, I don't see it. Unless James Cook has an amazing running day, I just don't see it in this game. And, on the flip side, Josh Allen is going to quite literally have to be Superman in this game. And I know Josh Allen might be the best quarterback in the league. I just don't see it against this team. And that's not even talking about the Broncos in this offense.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they're banged up. Like you said, Tyrell Shavers tore his ACL in the game and kept playing. Keon Coleman's a non-factor. I guess we'll have Khalil Shakir, and he'll have his tight ends. But, like, yes, It's on Josh Allen to be Superman, and you're not walking into Everbank Stadium down there in Duval and facing a first-year head coach. You're facing Sean Payton and facing a Jacksonville Jaguars team that I think the moment was too big for them. They had opportunities. They had the kicker that could get it done last week and didn't even give them the opportunity to, tie the game. So I think when you look at Mile High Stadium and their culture as well, Sean Payton, his experience, and a well-rested Broncos defense, like, I'll take them versus Josh Allen, and I think Bo Nix will do enough, and Bo Nix has enough receivers and a couple running backs where, like, I think they'll keep it close. I think it'll be a close game, but ultimately the edge is going to go to the Broncos, and that plays into the Broncos' hands because that's how they've won games all year. They've won games close and late all year. That is the style of play that they play up there in Mile High. You can never count out the altitude. I just think that the Broncos and the Bills, like, this is the end of the road for the Bills. Everybody wants to glaze Josh Allen and talk about this is the year for Josh Allen to get it done because Patrick Mahomes is not in the way, because Joe Burrow is not in the way, because Lamar Jackson is not in the way. Yeah, well, Bo Nix is in the way, and they beat them last year. This is a rematch of last year's playoffs, but I think the Broncos are a year better. I think the Broncos at home, well rested, they win a close one. If I had to give you a score, it's probably like a 3-point game. It's probably like, I don't know, it's probably something like 27-24 Broncos. Like, I think they'll be close. But ultimately, I think the Broncos find a way to win. I think that they have the better coach. I think they have the better defense. They have the home field advantage. And the Bills are banged up and the Broncos are well rested. Dre Greenlaw's back. Like, they're going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, that's a game that I remember the line first came out and the Broncos were underdogs. And I was so shocked. I mean, it wasn't by a lot. I think it was like 1.5 in terms of the spread that they were underdogs in that game. But I was so shocked. I'm saying to myself, I mean, this has happened a couple times before where the first seed is the underdog in a game. And every single time the first seed ended up winning that game. I think the first seed was 4-0 in those instances. But like, it's a situation where I just don't see it. And if you're Sean Payton, this is the biggest game Sean Payton has had in probably over a decade at this point in terms of his teams that he's coached. So you think he's not going to go all out and try to make this happen? Like, I'm super confident in the Broncos in this game, whether it's close or not. I mean, we're just going to have to see there. But I mean, to me, I still just can't believe that the line and everything is as close as it is. I understand it because Josh Allen is Josh Allen. But other than that, I just don't see it with this Bills team.
Yeah, and they sleep on Bo Nix, but Bo Nix has a knack for making plays with his legs, making the throws when he needs to. In the chat, Kevin said Gabe Davis is out too. So, yeah, it's like, who is he throwing the ball to? Josh Palmer? And if James Cook, I don't think James Cook is going to run on that defense. I don't think James Cook is going to have his way with Jonathan Cooper and Nick Bonito and Allen. And, like, he's just not, bro. It's like, it's not. I'm trying to, like, think about how the Bills go in there and get a win against a well-rested team. It might even be more low scoring than I said, 27-24. It could be even low scoring. It could be like they might not crack. I don't know. Let me see what the over-under is because they might not crack 60, 50 points. Like, it could be one of those low-scoring kicking games that we're just like, the Broncos are going to have the ball at the end to win it. I don't know. I can't take Josh Allen. I thought that the Jags had a chance last week. I can't take Josh Allen to go on the road, especially after now they're posting videos of his wife, Haley Steinfeld, wearing a Broncos jacket. She used to be a Broncos fan. I know it doesn't matter, but it's a bad omen. It's not a good look. Wifey used to rock with the Broncos. So, yeah, the over-under is 45.5.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the under hits on that.
I wouldn't be surprised if the under hits on that. I wouldn't be surprised. It's going to be 40 degrees out there. It's the first game of the day. It's the 4:30 game on Saturday. And I just think the Broncos will do enough to kind of smother them. I don't think that they'll be able to make enough plays. How much can they, run Josh Allen? Josh Allen had the foot injury. I know he's going to try and will him to victory, but I just think the Broncos overall have the better coach and better team. And then they'll find a way to win and outlast the Bills in their own building.
Yeah, I think that last point is the best point, right? You mentioned it. This is how they've won all year with the one-score games, with 11-2 and one-score games this season.
There you go.
It even plays into the Broncos' hands even more because you expect teams that come off a bye, they're going to start games usually slow, right? That's kind of what you expect. And even if the Broncos start off games slow, well, they've started off games slow all year, so it wouldn't be anything out of the norm for them. I do think, though, that if the Broncos get off to, let's just say, a 10-point lead in the first quarter, 10-0, they go off quick, the game's over from there. I don't see any way the Bills are built to come back into this game. But, hey, I guess when you have the better quarterback, the best player on the field, anything could happen if you're a Bills fan.
Yeah, take care of the football. And that's the last thing I'll say on it. I've been telling people I'm saying for the Broncos to take care of the football. Josh Allen, I used to have this hard campaign against Josh Allen because he was a turnover machine. They used to talk about how Dak Prescott turned the ball over and Josh Allen was, ahead of him. Josh Allen, and mark my words, maybe we'll clip this because, if it comes true, it's going to shine. Josh Allen will have either one of two things happen: a costly fumble or a costly interception, or a third thing, miss a wide open receiver. He might have a wide open Brandon Cooks and miss him. He might have a wide open Khalil Shakir that could change the game and miss him. Where Joe Brady's got to dial up a hook and ladder to save the day. Josh Allen will be the one to lose the game for them. It'll be a close game, but it will be a costly fumble or interception or just wide open target missed. And you're going to say, that's the game right there, Josh Allen. Better luck next year.
And that's what we'll keep on that. Let's stay in the AFC. Let's go Texans, Patriots. You talked about a game that you think isn't going to have a lot of points. I don't think this game is going to have a lot of points scored in it as well. That Texans defense is quite literally one of the best defenses I've seen in a very long time. If you look at the numbers, they had the best EPA per play defensively of any defensive team in the playoffs ever last week. That's how good they were. And yes, they didn't play the greatest team in the world, but they showed out. And I think that you saw what Jesse Minter and the Chargers were able to do against Drake May in that game. I think you'll be able to see even more defensive plays coming from the Texans side and make Drake May's life really struggle. And I don't know if the Houston Texans are going to win because they have their problems on offense, but it is going to be a slugfest. It is not going to be a high-scoring game at all.
Yeah, the Texans just got their first road win ever in Pittsburgh, and they played against Old Man Rodgers. Drake May can move around. Drake May's got receivers. And do not count out Ramondre Stevenson and his playmaking ability. I just look at this game as like there's no way the Texans go into Foxborough and beat these guys. Mm-hmm. They played Monday night. They were the last guys to play. They had to travel to Western Pennsylvania, then travel back to Houston. Now they've got to travel again up to New England and Northeast. It's a lot of travel. And CJ Stroud sucked in the last game, and he was mocking the fans like, haha, you mad? No, you should be mad, bro. You played like trash, but that defense is so boss. They saved your ass. If CJ Stroud thinks he's going to waltz into Foxborough and turn the ball over and they don't make him pay for it, they're absolutely going to make him pay for it because that Patriots defense is tough as hell. So I see it being a low-scoring game, too. It's got the lowest over-under of the weekend, and I think a lot of that is based off of what we just saw, right? We just saw the Patriots in their own building not be able to score that many points, but they did have the highest point differential. I think they won that game by like 16 points or 13 points. The Texans, to me, don't have enough on offense to compete with that defense. If CJ Stroud turns the ball over, they're cooked. And it is not like going up against Old Man Rodgers, who everything's got to be quick, everything's got to be perfect, and Aaron Rodgers is blaming everybody else around him. Drake May can extend plays. He can run the ball if he needs to. He can throw on the run if he needs to. They've got a two-headed monster in the backfield. If you add Henderson, I don't see the Texans going in there and beating the Patriots. Good teams stay good teams for a reason. This is what the Patriots do. They're right back to hosting playoff games. Their fan base knows what time it is. The Texans had a good run to end this season, but I think that at parts of this game, you might be calling for Davis Mills. I know I was calling for Davis Mills in the last game because CJ Stroud did not have it. So Patriots being 3-point favorites in this one, a low-scoring game. Yeah, I could see the Patriots winning this 23-17 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I just simply think, and for some of the Houston Texans fans, well, they'll tell you, well, obviously, once again, defense wins championships, as we've talked about before. You bring that defense into Foxborough, and they're going to have that next level of play style. I think that if you're looking for a reason for them to win, that is the only reason. Because once again, I don't think you can discount what the Chargers did defensively and last week and say that the Houston Texans can't do a similar, if not a better job than what they did last week, right? So I think that is their route to victory. They need defensive touchdowns because they won't get as many offensive touchdowns. I think the Houston Texans even are 3-0 when CJ Stroud has 3 or more turnovers. I think that's an insane stat, but that's not sustainable, right? You need CJ Stroud to be a decent quarterback. And that's what we've been saying about this Texans team all season long. If CJ Stroud can figure it out, this team can make a run to the Super Bowl even maybe. But if he's going to keep playing like this, it's just not happening. I don't think it will happen against this Patriots defense. I think the Patriots, as we've said, are going to win this game. But anything could happen. Once again, it's the playoffs. You got to play these games. Play these games for a reason, Keith.
Yeah, they could knock Drake May out of the game, and you're watching Josh Dobbs try to figure it out. And that's why you got to watch these games. That's why we bet on these games. And it's unpredictable, and that's why we love it. The NFL is king. Yo, shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to people watching on Twitter, people watching on YouTube. Me and my boy Gabe are simulcasting this across our channels. This is the second live that we've done together in this style and format. Make sure you follow the Playbook. That is Gabe's channel and brand that he's built. He's got millions of views across TikTok and Instagram. He is one of the best editors out there as far as, boom, something happens in the world of sports. He's got the video, he's got commentary, he's got the captions over it, and it is out there. So make sure you check out his stuff. Gabe also helped me out a ton when I was on WFAN. He was listening to the show. He reached out. He was able to clip up my WFAN takes, put some video of the games over it, and kind of lend his style to my social media, which helped my social media grow a ton. And so now I'm kind of paying it back. And, here we are collabing on a live stream as we both continue to grow our channels and do what we do, talking sports digitally and building a community and connecting with fans. So again, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we're rolling till 1 p.m. We've got a lot more. You can see, we already hit John Harbaugh and the Giants, obviously, in the beginning. We're now doing a division round breakdown, and, we'll keep it pushing, and we'll get to the baseball. We'll get to the basketball. Knicks got smacked last night. The Nets gave you another one of those almost kind of sort of good games, and they lose late. So I'll pass it back to Gabe so we can continue knocking it down.
Yeah, I mean, hey, this is new media right here. You had that video yesterday that went kind of big, right? Got some people talking, right? This is new media. This is what we're here to do. We're not just random schmucks. We know what we're talking about a little bit, all right? We've been in these rooms, all right? So we're not some idiots. You got your credentials. I got all my credentials right here. I mean, hey, we're not nobodies out here.
Bro, one day we should do a stream of I got hella credentials, bro. One day we should do a stream where we just bring our credentials out. I have a box of credentials from different things that I've done. And it's the video that Gabe is talking about with me, it really came from, I did a live at 5 the other day, right before I went to Bernie Williams' event at Carnegie Hall. So I knew, I was like, all right, I got my suit on. And a lot of times you see talking heads wear suits on Fox Sports, ESPN. So I'm like, cool, that's going to give me a level of credibility to the unknowing. And then what I did was lean into the conversation around Lynn Jones, Pat McAfee, Liam Cohen, because you saw the reaction of the credentialed media say, hey, there's no place for this. You're not supposed to be a nice person. You're not supposed to, be kind in the post game. You're supposed to grill the coach. But it opened up a can of worms. And me being somebody in the media that experienced that feeling of oh, these journalists that write for these publications, they're elitist. And they feel like us fans who turn the camera and mic on at home and build a following don't belong. But it's clear that the internet, the public, and even these teams have decided that we do belong, And I play both sides. I went to school for communication. I have the education. I also was at WFAN for 4 years, so I am credentialed media through a pillar in New York media. But then I also have the following and do this social media stuff and understand. Like, I worked with John Boy. John Boy used to, I don't know if his profile still says it, but his profile used to say not a reporter, because John Boy always wanted to make the distinction, like, I'm not John Heyman. I'm not Joe Sherman. I'm not writing for the Post. But what I'll say before we get back to it is, the more that people are doing this type of stuff, the more it gets respected. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. When you have a following, when you have subscribers, followers, views, they have to respect that, because the whole thing about media is reaching the masses. I don't know how many people are buying newspapers anymore. I don't know how many people are clicking through that paywall anymore. But I know when we put out content, we can see the back end. I reach millions of people every year. Anyway, back to it.
Yeah. I mean, look, there is a mix between the both. I feel like there needs to be a lot more hybrids in the game. And that's what we're here to do, to bridge that gap. I do think there's a little bit too much of polarization of, if you're a social media guy, you're a clown, you're a gimmick. Oh, if you're a journalist, you're super tight, buttoned down. Look, I cover the New York Liberty, for anybody who doesn't know. Over here, you don't see it, but I have my New York Liberty 2024 championship banner or towel that I was a part of. I was able to cover. Like, I'm a person that's been in these rooms as well. Like, I know that there is a mix, and that's what I strive to do and what we'll continue to do, whether it's through these platforms, through my platforms with the Liberty. Like, there is a mix, and we need to understand that as well.
Gabe represents the younger generation that will respect the content creators, the TikTokers, the podcasters, but also will respect the old guard for paving the way, going and being journalist majors, majoring in journalism and studying media law, media ethics, and getting to the New York Post and the Daily News and the Times and whatever. But like, the old guard has to make move but they got to make way and move out the way for the new up and coming people that are covering the teams that are fans. They used to be fans. There are a lot of these old guys that I run into, and I'm like, what made you want to do specifically sports journalism, right? You could go write about the president. You could go write about the economy. You got into sports because clearly at some point in your life, you were a fan.
Yep, 100%. And right before I move on, Kevin Matthews asking me a question. Any Gotham FC or Red Bulls game? Keith, I know you're a ball bearer at that Red Bulls game. So,
yeah.
You got experience there. I'm not a huge American soccer guy. I like Italian soccer. Call me a purist. Call me
World Cup coming. I'm sure we'll all be involved or some way covering that or around that. It's right here, coming soon. Right here.
But soccer's also dope too. I got to get some more Gotham FC games because they're a great team. People don't sleep on them.
They're champs.
They win championships. Hey, the only people to win championships in New York the last couple of years have been women teams.
Ladies.
Just want to point that out for all of us that want to hate on women's sports.
Yeah, anyway. Shout out to the Red Bulls. What I'll say about the Red Bulls is just like, they reached out to me because they couldn't deny the motion, baby. The voice, man. They needed somebody to voice over their new Stone Kick campaign. I did that. And then they had me do a whole commercial in the stadium to hype up the season. And then they had me at the end of the season come out and bring the ball, the match ball. And they showed me mad love, bro. And they came straight to me for that. That's McPherson Brand LLC stuff. They went straight to me. Shout out to the good folks at Red Bull, and shout out to or at the New York Red Bulls, the New York, New Jersey Red Bulls over there in Harrison. And a lot of them, and I'll say this, a lot of them used to work at the Brooklyn Nets. So, a big thing that I'll tell people is, man, you better stay solid, and you better realize that your name enters rooms before you do. So I was doing a Brooklyn Nets podcast under John Boy called Talking Nets, and then I got to the radio station, was doing Nets content, and they needed a young, hip voice from the area that could voice their campaign. And those people that were at the Brooklyn Nets, shout out to Anthony and some of the other folks that were there that went over to the Red Bulls, were like, we got the perfect guy, Keith McPherson. Keith McPherson's voice, his style, he'll be perfect for this. And so that's how the Red Bulls got me. I know there are a lot of Yankee fans that are like, come on, bro, you're supposed to be NYCFC. Nah, man, I'm a Jersey guy. They play over there in Harrison, New Jersey, and they reached out and they put money in my pocket, man. It's business at the end of the day. And you can buy loyalty. The Devils have bought my loyalty the same way.
The universe never unconnects. That's what you always say, right? So
hell yeah.
More examples of that. Okay. Let's get back to more football. All right. We got one more game to cover in the divisional round. We'll get to the national championship as well. And then we'll get to more New York sports, baseball, basketball. But let's hit this Rams-Bears game. You have my MVP, the MVP in Matthew Stafford on one side. You got the Chicago, I guess now he's the Chicago kid in Caleb Williams doing the jump man throw to save his team in games. I mean, yeah, it's just a great blend of the old guard. Hey, we just talked about old guard and new guard. We got a great blend of the old guard and Matthew Stafford and him rocking out, and the new guard and Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, and what they're building over there. So, I mean, I'll give it to you. What do you got in this game? What do you think about these two teams?
Yeah, the same way. I think it was a cute first round for the Bills and the Texans, and I think it was a cute first round for the Bears. I don't think they're going to be able to be the cardiac Bears again. They're expecting points in this game. The amount of points that they gave up, right? The connection between LaFleur and McVay. McVay is looking at that film right now, and he's like, barbecue chicken. I know what we got to do. Now, hopefully, Matthew Stafford has iced up that hand, and he's ready to go. But they are not about to stop Puka Nacua. They're not about to stop Devontae Adams. They're not about to stop any of those tight ends. Pick your poison, from Kobe Parkinson to Tyler Higbee to Davis Allen. They'll roll any tight end out there. I think that the Rams offense is going to go into Chicago and cook. Now, the only thing that might stop them from cooking, it's a little cold, and that's what Caleb Williams does, right? Iceman. He's the Iceman. And I think we're waiting on Drizzy to drop. I've been waiting for that Iceman, but here comes J. Cole with the fall off. We'll get to that later. This is what I think about this game. They're expecting points. 48.5 is the over and under. And I don't think you want to get into a shootout with the Rams. I think that Caleb Williams can sling it, and I think that Caleb Williams, also can sling it and turn it over. He had 2 interceptions in that game. The Bears should have lost that game. It was a prayer. It was a great victory. But I think now Ben Johnson versus Sean McVay, the Rams having a close call against the Panthers, that reality check, Stafford turning the ball over. I think that they lock in, and especially since they were the first game of the day, they're well rested. I think that they lock in and they go to Chicago and they get it done. And if it's a shootout back and forth, I don't think that the Bears will be able, to pull off a miracle again.
Yeah, and they're going to need points, right? As you said, they're going to need to score because the Rams are going to score early and often, right? I think you might even have 35 points for the Rams in this game. I don't think that's crazy to expect. I think that might be even the minimum they score in this game. That's how bad I think the secondary is for the Bears. I have a couple friends that are Bears fans, and they are they're a little bit nervous. Let's just say that at least they're a little bit nervous in this game because they know that their cornerbacks, they're not going to be able to do anything against these guys, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, right? And that group, right? And you mentioned earlier that you thought that Seahawks were going to walk into the playoffs. The Rams are my team to win the Super Bowl and get to the Super Bowl in the NFC just because that offense is incredible. Yes, we saw what happened with the Seahawks, their defense, them winning games in that close game already at the end of the regular season. I just think the Rams are meant for this playoffs. I think this is where they show once again that they didn't just go all in 2019. They stayed built, they stayed prepared, and that's a franchise that every team should try to emulate, right? The Rams, whether it is capitalizing on an older quarterback, but building around him the right way. I love this Rams team. They draft right, especially defensively as well. Like they spend, the least amount of money on their defense, and they're still respectable on that defensive line with Jared Verse and some of those guys as well.
Yeah.
Like that's special that you could have. And that's credit to obviously Chris Shula and McVay trusting in his guys, motivating his guys, and building a good group around him. But man, that is a really good team right there in the Rams.
Yeah, they hit on so many picks in the draft, which is hilarious because they said F them picks, but then they go and get Braden Fisk. They go and get Jared Verse. And then they even have some crafty moves that they made. Like they picked up Emmanuel Forbes Jr. and saved his career. I look at the Rams like this. Like you just said that they're your pick to go to the Super Bowl. I got the Seahawks over them. Stafford is old, man. And like if that hand is hurt and if he's not on, like I don't know. I do expect them to beat the Bears, but I don't expect them to go into Seattle and beat that Seahawks defense. I know they had them beat, but I think it's like the Seahawks just they got it. And if Sam Darnold is there, but whatever, we talked about them. Back to this game. The weather's going to play a factor. I see Kevin Matthew 1050 said weather going to be a factor in Chicago, going to be damn cold. Okay, we'll run the football. They have two running backs that played in the Midwest. They have Kyron Williams out of Notre Dame and Blake Corum out of Michigan. Run the damn ball. Hand the ball off. Let those two guys get in between the tackles and run the ball. And that is going to play a factor in this game because if they get a lead late, they are going to eat the clock. They are not going to be chucking it around in the cold weather. Matt LaFleur lost that game for the Packers last week. Sean McVay won't make the same mistake, and I bet you they kick that ball through the uprights when they need it. I also put that game on McManus, so I got the Rams obviously in this one. I think the Bears had a cute little first season under Ben Johnson. Good, better, best. Never let it rest. Yeah, F the Packers and all that. But I think it's done after this. I think you see McVay go on to face the Seahawks for the third time this year in the NFC Championship.
Yeah, that would be a great game. I just do want to spend a couple minutes here on the Bears, though. I mean, the Bears talk about building and building that culture and hitting on one of those genius coordinator tactical type guys in Ben Johnson, who almost felt like a shoo-in to be a great coach last year and the past couple seasons. You knew that he was going to step into that role and do well in that role. He knew that he wanted that Bears job immediately because, hey, he hates the Packers. He wants to be in that division, and he did his job on that end. But now he's got to do it on the bigger scale. I don't think he'll be able to do it there, but I'm really excited about Caleb Williams. I'm really excited about this Bears team just looking in the future. If they can lock down that defense a little bit more, you have a team that won't just be here once, might be here time in and time again. And I know in the NFL, there's a lot of conversation will be like, oh, well, we'll be back. And there's never a guarantee that you're back, and you're usually almost never back. I do think this Bears team will be back. Even if they lose this week, I have a lot of confidence in them moving forward.
Yeah, cardiac Bears, they just got to get a little bit better on defense. I think they have the weapons on offense, and they obviously have the offensive mastermind in Ben Johnson. But I call them the cardiac Bears because, similar to the Broncos, they won a lot of games late, coming back, giving up points, turning the ball over, and then just kind of clawing their way back, pun intended, with the Bears. So I don't know. I just don't think that they are able to rock with the Rams. The Rams are better coached. They have veterans. They have more talent. And I know it's going to be 19 degrees and, maybe some precipitation in the forecast. But I think the Rams go in there and get it done. It does give me shades of, last year with the Rams going into the snow in Philly and losing, to Saquon and the Eagles. But there ain't no Saquon on the Bears. They have DeAndre Swift. They have Kyle Monungai. I think ultimately they put it in Caleb Williams' hands, and if it's a shootout between Caleb Williams and Matthew Stafford, if Matthew Stafford is healthy and that hand is good and he's dialed in, it's going to be a whole lot of Puka, a whole lot of those tight ends, and they will hand the ball off to their two running backs and seal that victory.
So on one side, we got the Rams, Seahawks. You got the Seahawks in that game. I got the Rams in that game. On the flip side, though, on the AFC side, we have the way we talked about it. We got the Broncos going up against the Patriots, a classic matchup between those two teams in the AFC. And you have a battle of Bo Nix and Drake May, which is the new age version of, I guess, Brady and Peyton Manning, right? So, I mean, yeah, it's good ties between those teams. Who do you have in that matchup going to the Super Bowl? And how do you think that plays out?
Yeah, I said it on Gordon Damer's podcast on Monday. I think we're getting another Seahawks-Patriots rematch, right? These organizations that we saw be dominant some 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 14 years, whenever it was, they're going to be back. And like, there's a reason that, these good organizations stay good. I think the Seahawks will beat the Niners pretty easily and handedly, and they will be able to sit there at home and rest up and wait on the Rams, who they beat in a classic game on Thursday Night Football in December. And then I think that the Patriots are going to have their way with the Texans. And then whoever comes out of that, I think the Broncos, the Patriots have to go to the Broncos. I think that the Patriots can beat the Broncos in their building. I don't know. For some reason, it clicked to me last week. I'm like, I've got Seahawks, Patriots, Super Bowl. And I don't know. I could be wrong. Even as I'm looking at these games this weekend, I go, where's the upset?
Yeah.
Where's the upset? I don't see one.
Yeah,
I don't see one.
I don't see one either. We did have some great games last weekend. I hope the games in terms of quality stay the same, but I think we know the winners there. I mean, in terms of the Patriots against the Broncos, I like the Patriots, as you said, as well. I think they are more well-rounded offensively, defensively. I think they got the better – I don't know. I think they got the better vibe right now, and I think they're going to keep pushing the Drake May train, and Drake May's getting the most love ever. And he deserves it, right? I mean, he's been an
MVP
superstar. He is an MVP candidate, could win the MVP as well. So
they're going to give it to Stafford. They're not going to give it to the kid in his second year, but he deserves it. I mean, the numbers are there. They're winning, and I would give it to him.
Yeah, I would give it to him as well, just because, hey, I think he deserves it as well. Okay, so we got Patriots, Seahawks, Super Bowl. You got the Seahawks ended up winning that because you said they're going to win the Super Bowl. And we'll see how it goes. That's 1 hour down, folks. Keep the hype going. Almost 500 people collectively in the stream, in the chat. Get in the chat. Talk to us. Let us know your thoughts. We love interacting. So make sure you're in the chat talking with us. Tell us what you guys think, because now, second hour here, we're going till 1. We're going to talk national championship, then talk more about New York sports, whether it's the basketball teams, whether it's the baseball teams. We're going to cover it all. Don't worry. Let's be patient. But let's get into, if you're ready, let's get into this national championship. Indiana against the U. I mean, you have a situation now where you had Indiana, which was the worst college football team ever, right? Ever, most losingest college football team. They now got their new regime, and Cignetti doesn't care about the old Indiana. He cares about the Indiana now and what he's got with this team. You have the U playing their first kind of their biggest game in the last 24 years, it seems, as well. I mean, you have two teams that are just built kind of for success right now, and could be in the future as well with Indiana. But I mean, where do you want to start off with this matchup?
I'll start off with just the overarching themes in college football: an expanded playoff, a transfer portal, NIL. Those three things made this possible.
Yep.
Follow me. The expanded playoff. Miami wasn't supposed to be in. Why is Miami in? What's Miami? Miami's not supposed to be in there. Yeah, okay. Look what they did. They went to Texas A&M, beat them. Trinidad Chambliss and the story for Ole Miss this year knocked them off, and now here they are hosting. Right, the tickets are insane. It's like $5,000 to get in there. Hosting, like, Miami is going to be so lit on Monday night. All of the U Miami alums, all of the Indiana alums. I have some friends that have gone to both schools. And then every celebrity down there in Miami is trying to get into this game. It is going to be cracking. Shout out to Carson Beck, who said, I'm not going to the NFL. I can go make $4 or $5 million and go to the U. Go to the U. Malachi Tony, baby Jesus, supposed to be in high school. Young man is a grown-ass man. And Mario Cristobal, who, they were pissed at this guy, but they love this guy now. He's got that organization or that program completely back. The U is back. But I hope they lose, because I don't want to see Michael Irvin take his belt off again. You don't want to see a 60-year-old man, going BTA, and especially in a game where they barely beat Ole Miss. That's not BTA. You know who had BTA, belt to ass? Indiana put belt to ass over Oregon. And when we talk about the transfer portal, right, and we talk about NIL, Oregon always has some of the top players in the country, 5 stars, 4 stars. Not IU. What IU has is the mad scientist that is Kurt Signetti, who is special to me and in my heart because the school that I signed my letter of intent to, James Madison University, he helped James Madison University go from Division I FCS to Division I FBS. And in this expanded playoff, you saw James Madison University go to Oregon and play. That's something we never thought was going to be possible. But we also never thought it'd be possible for Indiana to be in a national championship. Not this fast, not with this motley crew, this, group of scavengers. I forget what Mendoza called us. He said we're misfits or something like that. Like they are. These are kids that a lot of them came from JMU. Kalen Black, Elijah Surratt, some of the guys on defense, like they came from Harrisonburg, Virginia with Kurt Signetti to Bloomington. And they immediately started competing. They made the playoff last year, and now they're in the final. Mendoza's the Heisman Trophy winner. Mendoza is going to be the #1 overall pick. And what I'll say about these kids, they don't give a fuck. They don't care. They don't care about what logo is on your helmet. It could be Bama. It could be the U. It doesn't matter. Oregon, whatever. These kids have played 4 years of college football, most of them. They're experienced, and they've got a coach that it has them prepared, and they know that, the Hoosiers basketball movie that was made, they're making the football movie. I've got IU beating Miami. I love how we have gotten into the future with an expanded college football playoff, NIL, and a transfer portal that made all of this possible.
100%. I mean, you just look at where college sports is. And I understand people like, once again, Kevin Matthew in the chat, holding it down for us today. Transfer portal getting too crazy. Guys transfer, then go somewhere else. I understand that side and viewpoint. It does seem like there's a lot less loyalty and kind of
so what
in college football or just college sports. But once again, when you get stories like this, when you get teams like this that are built with 0, 4, and 5-star candidates, but built as a team to come together and potentially win and will win a national championship in Indiana, that makes this all worth it, right? That makes all of this worth it. And you look at successes in college basketball as well. St. John's, they know they're not getting the top recruits in terms of the guys coming over from high school. They know that they're not doing that. But they also know that they could use Rick Pitino to get guys to transfer over and be that 4th, 5th year guy to build an actual squad. They know, you look at Arizona, what team they have, 4th, 5th year guys, maybe even 6th year guys with these super seniors now, but like they're getting those guys to come in here and build championship level teams to programs that aren't just the blue blood Alabama, Georgia,
yes,
and LSU. It makes more parity for this. And that's what we wanted. That's why people expanded the playoffs. That's why we have all this more money being driven into these programs like we saw with Indiana. The biggest reason why Indiana, they didn't care about football. They didn't put any money into football. Now you put the right coach into place, you put the right investment into place, and look what happens. They're in the national championship. And as me and you are both going to say, we think we're going to win the national championship as well. I mean, that is where we are in college sports. It evens the playing field. Maybe it is a little pay to play, but guess what? It was always pay to play in college football. Now it makes it actually legal for these teams that we didn't think much of to actually get a chance into the spot. That's what I love most about it.
Oh, you mean to tell me that now that Mark Cuban can put in $1 million to IU, their football team can get there, and it's not just Georgia and Bama and Ohio State, who for years have had illegal boosters, who for years we've known they've had people funding the football program, paying these kids, paying their rent, giving them cars, giving them cash, guys going on recruiting visits and getting nudged. Hey, you come here, we'll give you $100,000. We'll get your mom this, we'll get your dad. Like that stuff has gone on forever. But the big schools could really do it. And like, I love where we're at right now. Even look at Miami, bro. Like, you think there's not people down there in Miami giving a ton of bread? Of course there is. But like, Miami is back. I love where we're at. I don't need it to change. I know people are saying it's the Wild Wild West, and it should be. Excuse me. It should be, because for years, the NCAA and these coaches and the TV deals that they made millions of dollars on the backs of these kids. I'm a former college football player. I transferred, right? I went to school with kids who they had nothing. They were sending their Pell Grants home. They were, any money they could send back to their families, they would send. They come from poverty. They come from poor neighborhoods. They come from nothing. And like now, NIL has made these kids rich. They like just being good enough in college at age 18, 19, 20. They've been able to take care of their families back home. I love it. And then when I talk about me transferring, I transferred from James Madison University to Monmouth University, and I lost a year. I had to go to class. I had to go to practice. I was ineligible to play. It sucked. It takes you out of the flow. It takes you out of the experience. It makes you not want to play. Now you can transfer a bunch of times. It was always a stupid rule. Why do you have to sit for a year? Like, it was always stupid that these kids, oh no, you get room and board. Oh, you get your meals taken care of. That was the first step. Like, oh, unlimited dining. But of course, these are 300-pound football players. They need unlimited dining. They're probably going into the dining hall anyway for free because they're the big man on campus. But now with this NIL, a car dealership can come in and pay these kids. I already mentioned like a Mark Cuban can come in and pay these kids. Brands can come in and pay these kids. And I just love to see it because for the longest, it was never amateur sports, but it was treated like it was amateur sports. It's a pro league now. It's a farm league now. And let these kids jump and go wherever they want to go. It works for some. It doesn't work for others. Let a kid like Carson Beck come back. Look at Dante Moore. Dante Moore's like, I'm not going to the NFL. And they're like, oh, he's turning down $50 million guaranteed. He's already rich. He knows it's going to come. He doesn't want to end up where he's, I don't want to throw the Jets on their bus, but he probably doesn't want to end up with the Jets. And he needs another year of seasoning, and he has that afforded to him in college, where it's like, okay, instead of going back for another year and taking, illegal benefits and having to watch over your back, you can go in and get this money, and you can still be big man on campus. I hope Trinidad Chambliss, I hope they fight it. I know they're not going to be able to fight it because he went to Ferris State before he went to Ole Miss. But like, Ole Miss is trying to sue the NCAA to get him another year of eligibility. Why wouldn't you want to be big man on campus? I'm sure he's got some hottie toddies waiting for him on campus. He ain't trying to leave. He wants to run it back with Ole Miss. Maybe next year he'll be the Heisman favorite. Maybe next year they'll be the national championship favorite. Like, man, I love what has happened to college football because those kids were getting done wrong for decades.
Yeah, and you talk about just having to miss out a year. That hurts a lot of people. I mean, I went to college at Hofstra University, and right now, in terms of just their basketball, because we don't got football anymore, but in terms of basketball, a lot of kids have gone from mid-major to a high-major program. I mean, just over the past couple of seasons, you've had guys like Aaron Estrada, who was killing it at Hofstra. He goes to Alabama. You have a guy like D-Stone Dubar, killed it at Hofstra. He goes to Tennessee, right? Like, these are guys that can use also these mid-major programs to get themselves bigger platforms for themselves and get themselves where they believe they deserve. And that even works on the flip side. You have the top prospects that maybe weren't getting the opportunities on those teams, right? Like a guy like, I'm just going to throw Bryce James out there, even though it's just a terrible example, but I don't really have on the back end. But like, or I'll even say this, Aaron Estrada, who went to Hofstra, he started at Oregon. He was getting no playing time at Oregon. So what did he say? Okay, I'm going to go to a mid-major school. I'm going to get my reps. And then he went to St. Peter's. He went to Hofstra, was getting his reps, got better every single year, and then got himself on a championship level team in Alabama that year where he was there. Like, that's what this is meant for. I know we could talk about, there's no loyalty anymore in college football. Well, guess what? The schools aren't loyal to their players. So why in the hell should the players reciprocate that loyalty to the teams when sometimes they're getting done super wrong? And you talked about guys that aren't making a lot of money. They like, getting college sports is their way out, right? And they weren't allowed to really benefit much off of that outside of just in-school benefits. Now you have a situation where, remember before it was like, if you tried to sell something like your jersey or your helmet, right? Like, now we're going to fine you $1 billion.
Stupid.
And it was terrible. Now you see guys selling their jerseys, selling all this stuff.
They should be doing autograph signings and appearances and have deals with Nike and have deals with whatever brands. If it's Celsius that wants to advertise with you, so be it, man. Like, There is no loyalty. The loyalty is to the almighty dollar in anything that you do. There is no loyalty. You're fooling yourself. And like Derek Jeter said this. He said, loyalty one way is stupidity. They'll replace you anywhere. In college, in your job, in business, they'll replace you. Loyalty is to the almighty dollar. Where can you earn the most money, make the most money for yourself, and ultimately be happy? Like Ty Simpson just said something. He said, and this to me I think is crazy, but whatever. I think the kid wants to go to the NFL, and now with Dante Moore not being there, he might be the number 2 quarterback. So On3 put out massive NIL offers from other schools couldn't delay Ty Simpson's NFL dreams. Tennessee, Miami, and Ole Miss were offering him $4 million. The Hurricanes upped it to $6.5 million. His quote was, Miami was kind of like, all right, we're moving on. And then they lost out on Sam Levitt and came back to that big number. And Ole Miss called again, and they said they couldn't match it. And he talked about what he did at Alabama. I'm trying to find the exact quote, but he basically talked about what he built at Alabama. He said, everybody would just remember me as the guy who took all of this money and went to Miami or Tennessee for this last year. But I was a captain. I put my hand and footprints in the cement at Denny Chimes. I would have lost everything that I built at Alabama. What the fuck are you talking about, bro? You guys lost in the Roll Bowl. You got ran out of the building by Indiana, and you got knocked out of the game. That's what you'll be remembered for. You didn't build anything there. They don't love you like that. You ain't Kobe. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, yo, go get your money, player. But hey, I can't knock him because maybe he's the number 2 quarterback taken. Maybe he has a good pro day and a good combine, and he does get his money. But I thought that was ridiculous that he's talking about what he built at Bama in 1 year. Bro, you know what they'll remember you for? You lost that first game to Florida State, bro. What are you on? What are you smoking? What are you even talking about? What you built at Bama? Man, if Miami is in the national championship and Carson Beck is about to go to the NFL and Miami's offering you $6.5 million to come to the beach and hang out with supermodels and be the quarterback of the U, and instead you're going to go get drafted potentially by the Jets or the Steelers, you're bugging out.
Yeah, no, 100% right. And look, you have a situation, especially Bama. They ain't remembering you unless you're winning a championship there anyway. So, like, what are you talking about? They already want Peter DeBoer out of there as their coach.
What you built? You built a damn thing.
Yeah, bro. As you said, get your money. You are afforded that privilege now, and he would have gotten. As you said, he was getting offers all around. So I just think it's ridiculous to have that mindset in this platform, in this area of college football. It's beyond me. I don't know. Hey, you want to talk about the game though?
Let's talk about the game. I got Indiana, and I think let's look at what the spread is.
I'll say this while you're
Indiana's minus 8.5, double that shit.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are going to have money on Indiana. I think, look, the only way that this game is close or this game it goes in favor of Miami is if that defense is just incredible. But we saw, I mean, they played well, right, in that semifinal game, but they are without a lot of their defensive backs. They are thin on the defensive end. And yes, they performed, but now you're in a different beast here with an Indiana team that, fine, they don't have the top recruits, they don't have the top talent, but guess what? They have a team, a well-oiled machine that is going to go in there, play the right way, and they're not going to make mistakes. They're not going to turn over the ball to you. They're not going to take a lot of sacks against you, right? That's where this difference in this game is, because Miami relies on the other team making mistakes, and Indiana does not make any mistakes on either side of the ball because of how well they are coached. So I think you're going to see a run game with the guys they got there in the run game. I got their lineup here with Roman Hemby and Kalon Black, and even Fernando Mendoza can get out and hurt you with his legs at times if you don't got a spy looking over him, right? You have those guys that are going to be world beaters, and I don't think that just having Ruben Bain rushing the passer is going to be enough for them.
Yeah, I'm sorry to break it to Miami fans, and they've got a lot of national fans because of the years they were good with Frank Gore and Willis McGahee and Clinton Portis. All that shit is over. And Michael Strahan, wear overalls to the game, bro, because there will be no belt to ass. It's a wrap. It's done. It might be belt to ass the other way around, but Indiana will do it respectfully. Indiana will do it professionally. Indiana has a lot of guys that are going to be professionals. Miami too. They've got a few guys that are going to be drafted. Bain is a guy that I think you're going to see him get checked. But he's a guy that's Ruben Bain Jr. is going to be drafted in the top 5 picks. And even that tackle. Francis Mayugawa is another guy, it's arguably a top 10 pick. They've got NFL guys too. But Fernando Mendoza, this is his story. He's from Miami, right? Of Cuban descent. He's going to have his family there. And Miami, he went to Miami's football camp. They didn't offer him. This is his time. He's going to dominate them. He's going to be accurate. He's going to be smart with the football. He's going to shine. And you are going to see some grown-ass men against some younger players, but you're going to see some grown-ass men from Indiana go out there and be very businesslike under Curt Cignetti and win the national championship. They haven't lost all season. They have gotten better all season. They have picked up steam. They just rolled Oregon, right? You struggled against Ole Miss. Shout out to Malachi and Carson Beck and everybody else, but bro, I'm just telling you, I know what I know, and it might not even be close. That defense, if Carson Beck gives them the ball, you saw what that defense did to Dante Moore. They've got plenty of film. They can run it. They can throw it. This is Fernando Mendoza's story, right? That's why it's in Miami. Not for the Miami Hurricanes to win a national championship in their city. No, it's for the Heisman Trophy winner, the #1 overall pick to complete the movie, win the national championship, build the statue of Curt Cignetti in Bloomington. Go IU. The Indiana Hoosiers are about to win the national championship in football, not basketball.
Yeah, and I think that's my favorite part about it with this whole story with Indiana is the way that they conduct themselves, right? Whether it's based off of Cignetti or not, they aren't putting any more flash onto themselves. They just go in there, they do what they need to do, and they're out, right? They give you some great speeches pre and post game, whether it's Mendoza or Cignetti. Other than that, it's pretty much wraps. And I mean, you look at more comments here. You got to stop Tony. The dude is unbelievable. Yes, Tony is great. They have a lot of talent on that Miami roster. But guess what? This team is built for that. My favorite thing that Cignetti did was when they were talking about the Alabama game, and that reporter asked Cignetti, is your team nervous playing against the Alabama brand? And this, it's like, bro, we know what we saw in film. We know who they are.
That's all they know. That's all they know.
They don't care about this rest of this nonsense, right? They don't care that a lot of the world is going to want to see Miami win, and you're going to have Kodak Black and Michael Irvin on the sidelines,
and what's the porn star's name? Abella Danger.
Abella Danger, right?
Abella Danger.
They don't care about.
I don't watch Pino, so I'm not familiar with her work.
I don't care about all that, right? They're just going to go in there and play football. That's what I love about them so much. And whether they win or don't, I think they win. But it's that reasons why they've gotten this far. And they celebrate each other, right? When the MVP of the game was the offensive lineman, right? You might have seen other teams, right? They would have celebrated it, but they wouldn't have been like that the way that Indiana was with their offensive linemen getting the recognition that he deserves, that they deserve as a unit, right? That's what this team does. They come together, and whether you like the corny speeches or not, whether you like what the coaches say or not, you cannot deny their just ability to play as a team and play as a whole. And that's how you win in sports. Screw college, screw high school, screw pro. If your team is together, that is how you win in sports. That's what Indiana is showing to the rest of the world, that you don't need these 5 stars. Get these grown men that are willing to buy into a message, buy into a system, and you're going to go very far.
Yeah, Pat Coogan. He's going to introduce himself to Ruben Bain and the rest of the defensive line for Miami. They're physical. They're tough. And what I loved about what Fernando Mendoza recently talked about, he talked about delayed gratification. They don't celebrate anything. They didn't celebrate winning the Big Ten championship over Ohio State, which many people thought that they weren't going to be able to do. They didn't celebrate winning the Rose Bowl. They didn't celebrate beating Oregon. They will finally have their chance to celebrate in Miami on Monday night. And I don't see Miami being able to rock with these guys who have experience, who have been here, done this. They're completing their movie. It's about them. Miami wasn't supposed to be here. Neither was Indiana. But like these guys, like Elijah Surratt talked about just having one more chance to go at it with his brothers, right? He's a kid that went to JMU and transferred to Indiana. He just wants another opportunity to go to war and rock with his brothers. And Fernando Mendoza, his kind of nerdy style, but his leadership has led the way. Pat Coogan is another one. Like I just said, he's a leader of that team. They have men on that team. This is a grown ass men team manufactured by the transfer portal because these kids were able to transfer and stay in college that long. They were not 4-star, 5-star recruits coming out of high school. Mendoza was a 3-star recruit. But they got better with time. They got better with reps and experience and seasoning. And football is a game like that. You get better the more snaps you play. You get better the more offenses and defenses you've seen. You get better the more plays that you go up against. Like you get better the more film that you watch. Like these guys on Miami, I talked about Baby Jesus, who's supposed to be in high school. He's a great player, but he's a kid. And I just think that when you watch Miami versus Indiana, I'm not going to say that it's going to be JV versus varsity. I don't know exactly what the score is going to be. It could get out of hand, though. It could look like JV versus varsity. You are going to see guys that are like 18, 19, 20 versus guys that are 19, 20, 21.
Yeah, and look, it's all about preparation, right? In sports, it's about preparation. These guys, Indiana comes in with a cheat sheet every time, and their cheat sheet is way better than your cheat sheet on me. Like that's the way that they view it, and because that's the work that they put in. They put their head down and they go to work. So yeah, Indiana, they're gonna win this. It's gonna be a fun watch. My question though to you is, now, what does this mean in the future for Indiana? Because you're gonna have some people saying, oh well, they're just based off Mendoza. They're just based off of this, that. How sustainable is this for Indiana? I know Cignetti can build a program. We know that, but how sustainable is it at this level to do what they're doing right now?
Listen, Kirk Cignetti said, Google me, I win. I saw him do it at JMU, and I'll never get over the fact that they went 11-1. They had College game day there, and they lost at the end of that game to freaking App State. A little nugget to boost myself up because I know my haters always love when I talk about my college football. Yeah, I didn't play. I was a bench rider, but I went to school on a free ride. Man, I was on the field when we lost to App State in the playoffs, the year that Amani Edwards and App State beat Michigan in the Big House. Later in that season, we went to Boone, North Carolina, James Madison versus App State. We had them beat. My boy Jamal Sullivan, he just messaged me the other day about why am I not an Eagles fan? My boy Jamal fumbled the ball going in, and we ended up losing that game to App State. So, I'll always hate App State because that was the worst feeling in a locker room, in a bus ride home, being around my teammates in the season ending. I'll never forget the pit in my stomach, the way my heart felt that we thought we were winning that game and advancing and going on to the next round of the playoffs and lost to App State. And their fans, they were all over us. That's a crazy place to play. But anyway, going back to JMU, I saw Kurt do it at JMU. And now JMU look like, Chesney comes in there, and what he does with JMU this year gets them the college football playoff against Oregon. This guy's not going anywhere. He's going to get more grown men to transfer in. This guy's not going anywhere. They're going to win the national championship. They're going to build a statue for him. They're going to name streets after him. They're going to make a Hoosiers Part 2. It's going to be a football movie. We have never, ever seen anything like what Kurt Cignetti is able to do in this first 2 years on the job in Indiana, and I don't think they're going anywhere. I think they're going to be a powerhouse in the Big Ten for years to come. Look at the Big Ten being shaken up. Penn State, Franklin is out. They're starting over there. Ohio State, they already beat Ohio State. I think Indiana is going to be around for as long as Kurt Cignetti is going to be around. People are talking about him going to the NFL or him leaving somewhere. He's not leaving. He's got boots on the ground in Bloomington, Indiana, and he's going to make that place a powerhouse for football. And they're already attracting NIL transfers and recruits, and they're going to continue to produce. Love it.
And that's the only thing you need to say right there about Indiana, who they are, what they are, and how this game's going to go, right? Now let's transfer over to a transfer. I didn't mean to do that, but let's transfer over.
Segue. This is segue.
That's a segue. Let's segue over to New York sports, right? And a lot of people, we're here to talk about New York sports. That's what my brand's built off of. Keith, obviously, when he on the radio all the time, talking a lot of New York sports, filling a lot of calls. We love that. You got I got Brunson. You got, the Yankees over there. Let's do it.
You don't have Brunson. Brunson left the game last night.
Well, yeah, but I got him behind me. You don't got the Yankees.
You saying, yeah, oh yeah. Well, we have.
Now.
I got. I'm always repping Jersey though.
Yeah, as you should.
You need some Jersey guys in New York. I got Jeter. I got the bobbleheads. I got the banner up. I got the Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009. It sucks.
It does suck, but hey, they made a trade. They made a move, Keith. They made a move.
We got him. We got him.
Ryan Weathers. Look, I'm not going to hype up this move too much. I know if you look at, I like the idea of the move, what it could mean, right? You look at some of Ryan Weathers' stuff. You look at his sweeper. You look at his changeup. Matt Blake could cook with him potential-wise. It's there, right? And a lot of people who know a lot of things, who know more than me, tell me that this is a lot of good move. But it's a Cashman special. It is a complete Cashman special, him trying to make that next level under the radar move. But my question is to you, Keith, is like, how many under the radar moves does this team need until they go, hey, screw the under the radar. Let's go over the radar and get the guy we need to actually win a championship. Because at the end of the day, stars win championships in baseball when you got them.
It's super mid, bro. The New York Yankees are supposed to be so famous that they don't need names on the back of their jerseys. I'm going to need something to identify Ryan Weathers. I don't know anything about him. I know about him now because I did the research once they traded for him, and then everybody from Fireside Yankees, Everything Yankees, Talking Yanks, all these Yankee outlets have posted, he's got a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He was a top draft pick. He's hurt a lot. He hasn't been effective because he's not available. And yes, this is a Cashman special, right? Trade a bunch of prospects that nobody really is crying over for a depth piece. Now you have a lot of controllable young pitching that you could potentially flip for a Freddie Peralta or whomever else. But this is not something that inspires confidence in the fan base. I didn't even comment on it. I was like, do I do a live on this? Do I do a post about this? No, it doesn't change anything for the 2026 New York Yankees. He's not winning a Cy Young for them, right? This isn't Ranger Suarez being signed with the Red Sox. This is Brian Cashman making a move to make a move because they're saying, you didn't make a move. You haven't added anybody to this roster. What are we waiting on? This is Brian Cashman and the Yankees saying, we're not waiting on Cody Bellinger. We do have to do something here. And this is a guy that they've had their eyes on. This is a guy that the biggest thing you need to know if you're a Yankee fan, he doesn't cost anything. It's cheap. Cashman special is the bargain bin, scrap heap, discounts, clearance rack guys. This is a guy that's not making any money.
Yeah, he's the lady that goes into the store, gets 1 million items, but has the 1 million coupons that comes with it too, and forces the cashier to drop the price from $300 to $1. I mean, it's just incredible to me. And look, he has hit on some of these guys, so it's not like the worst thing in the world if you're a Yankee fan. But at some point, you need to see that next level. You need to see that foot in the dirt. That hey, we want to actually win a championship. And I just don't understand the reasoning. Is it because he's worried about a lockout next year? Is it? I mean, I'm on the contrary of that. Some people are saying he's worried about the lockout, so maybe he wants to make his money as less as possible for that lockout. I'm like, we don't know what the lockout could be. We don't even know if there will be a lockout. Let's go all in for maybe the last time you can. I mean, you have players out there that you can make this roster much better. And right now, whether they're refusing to do it, and Keith, this is what annoys me the most. And this is what I want to ask you about. Why in the world do the Yankees make an excuse about every single thing? They sound valid, right? They sound valid. The excuse, he costs too much. We didn't think we need this piece based off the roster we have. We have young, controllable guys that we like. We don't need to do this. We don't need to do that. And guess what? Well, I guess they don't think they don't need to win a championship because they haven't been able to prove that they can do that over the last couple of years. The excuses have pissed me off to the next level with this Yankees team, and that's where my anger really is.
Yeah, this isn't the contending Yankees anymore. Like contending for world championships. This is the content Yankees. I have grown up to realize that like the days of the Yankees being perennial contenders for the championship are done. They are content just being in the mix. It's a crapshoot. They're content saying, we won more games than the Dodgers, who won the World Series. The team that represented the American League in the World Series, we had the tie with them. You know, even though the Blue Jays owned the Yankees last year, if you watch the whole season, like they are comfortable, casual, and content. And that's what scares me, because they don't think that they need to make too much of a change or a difference with this team. They say, hey, we won 94 games. That's the same amount of games we won when we went to the World Series. No two seasons are alike. And you're supposed to improve yourself and prove yourself. Follow me. Improve yourself and then go prove yourself every year, no matter who you are and what you do. Do that every year. Improve yourself. Be a better version of yourself. Get better at what you do and then go prove it again. And I feel like the Yankees are running it back. Like they let Trent Grisham take that $22 million qualifying offer. That shit is dumb to me. It's just like, that's the first thing that you did in your offseason. I think it was like 60-40 that they thought. 60-40, they probably thought 60% he wouldn't take it. And then Trent Grisham talks to his agent and looks around. And he's like, 22 mil? I made 5 last year. This is more than I made in my career. To be a Yankee, to run it back in New York? Yeah, let's take that. And then, if he believes in himself, which I'm sure he does, he's got quiet confidence. He thinks he can duplicate what he did last year. I don't expect that. I don't expect that at all. I think we're primed for him to either be hurt with that hamstring, his defense to take another step back, and I don't think there's any way he hits another 30-plus home runs. But whatever, that's Cashman. Cashman says, oh, no, there's underlying metrics, and we think that what we saw, it's not a fluke, and that he's not going to be the 190 hitter. Okay, whatever. Cody Bellinger now, you're dealing with Scott Boras. Scott Boras is trying to get 7 years, $37 million. For who? For what? To what? To what? To what? For Cody Bellinger? Cody Bellinger revived his career in the Bronx this year. He should be more inclined to come back at a rate that's like, hey, I kind of want to keep it going there. I don't want to end up on the Anaheim Angels. I don't want to end up on, who knows? I look at the Yankees right now, and they are, that meme where, the guy's looking in the mirror, right? Like you go out there and you tell them that we're the best and we're good at this. And that's Brian Cashman. Brian Cashman literally said at the GM meetings in Arizona 2 years ago, I think we're pretty effing good at this. Come on, bro. You haven't won. You haven't won anything to say that you're pretty effing good at. I guess you're good, but you're not great anymore. The franchise used to be about greatness. You used to want to be a Yankee fan and put on that hat and put on the pinstripes because it made you feel like you were part of greatness, winning. 27 rings, bro. Now it's just like we're in this like corporate Yankees. We're in this content Yankees. We're in this like, oh, we can't do what the Dodgers do. We can't spend at the top of the market. We're good. We got Aaron Judge. We got Cole coming back. We're good. Come on, bro. It's like you're supposed to be pushing your chips in. The Dodgers do it. The Dodgers' one main weakness was what? They had to have Roki Sasaki closing games. So they go out and they steal Edwin Diaz from the Mets. Problem solved. Problem solved. Now, don't let them fuck around and get Kyle Tucker. Don't let them, they will. Because you know what? They found the loophole, the deferred Dodgers, the deferrals, and they understand you win the World Series, you build a new money tree. They built 2 in the last year, and they're going for 3. They're looking to erase our history, right? They're looking to erase that 3-peat up there.
Yep.
They're looking to go 3 in a row, and then if we lock out, we lock out. So be it. The Guggenheim partners are laughing all the way to the bank in their investment firm. So, I mean, it is what it is, Yankee fans. See you guys at opening day, though. The fans are undefeated. We never left. Our culture is intact. We're waiting. We're waiting on them to reciprocate. We're waiting on them to be the evil empire again.
Yeah, and you look even on the American League side. The team that just went to the World Series just spent over $300 million more this offseason in the Blue Jays. And they are in prime position to land Kyle Tucker for a long-term deal as well, right? You look at right now, I believe the 3 teams are Mets, the Blue Jays, and the Dodgers. Right now, it's a medium, a short, and long deal. And guess what? the team that's giving them the most total money, the most total years is the Blue Jays, because they know that they need to improve. And then, as you said, they're going to prove themselves, or they're going to at least try to prove themselves next season. And you look at even the Red Sox, they're making moves. You look at the AL, they're making AL East, they're making moves. And the Yankees, well, look, we think that Trent Grisham is going to hit 30 home runs this year. We think that, hey, if we give Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez the more opportunity, they're going to prove themselves. Like, come on, bro. Like, let's see it happen.
Yeah, we'll be all right with Ryan Yarbrough and Will Warren. And, oh, man, I don't know, bro. Yeah, we got Ahmed Rosario. Ahmed Rosario's coming back. Listen, Rogers Communications, as I've spoken on the Guggenheim Partners, Rogers Communications is rich. They offered Shohei Ohtani 700. He didn't take it. They offered Juan Soto over 700. He didn't take it. They shored up Vladdy, and Vladdy was worth everything. Did you see Vladdy in the postseason? He should have a $700 million contract. And then they just gave Dylan Cease a 7-year deal because they need pitching. They were out there pitching Max Scherzer. Chris Bassett is not back. They understand they need pitching. So they go out and get Dylan Cease. They go out and get Yakamoto. They go out and get the Japanese third baseman. And, they understand that, like, that Japanese market, the money that you make off that Japanese market is there too. So they're trying to get better. I don't know if they're going to go get Bo Bichette, whatever. But they know Bo better than anybody. And they were able to find the Ernie Clemets, the Addison Bargers, the Dalton Varshows, and get it done. They have a good manager. And the last thing I'll say about it before I kick it back to you, the Yankees 2 years ago going to the World Series and hosting 3 games, it was reported that they made something like $110 million off the postseason. An extra $110 million. I believe it. I was at all the games. I believe it. I believe it because, like, people were paying over $2,000 to sit in the bleachers in the World Series. I believe it. I was in Legends Game 5, and it was just all rich celebrities. And, like, my wife asked us to leave. Like, can we go out with the regular people? It was awkward. I was like, yeah, we're not rich. But the Yankees, follow me, if the Yankees made $110 million going to the World Series and losing 2 out of the 3 games that they hosted, but they still hosted, not as like the Dodgers would have hosted more games because they had the better record. That's another thing. The Yankees, the math is never mathing. They don't win enough games. They don't win enough games to take the tiebreaker from the Blue Jays. They don't win enough games to host game 1 and 2 of the World Series. But follow me. If the Yankees made $110 million, it was reported an extra $110 million. That was their most lucrative season ever in 2024. What do you think the Rogers Center, Rogers Communication, and the Blue Jays made last year, playing 4 games, having game 7 in their building, playing all of those postseason games, selling out the Rogers Center for not just Toronto, the whole country of Canada? They've got plenty money, and they're putting it back into the team. They got plenty money, and they're reinvesting it because they want to go back to the World Series. And they know that they can go back to the World Series because they're looking at the American League, and they're like, we're not worried about the Yankees. We're not worried about the Red Sox. There's nobody in the Central. There's nobody in the West. Like, they are trying to go back to the World Series and face the Dodgers again and avenge that loss because they were this close to potentially doing it this year.
Yeah, and I got a couple things, right? The way the Yankees playing right now, they play the system. They do that crapshoot thing. Well, once you get to the playoffs, it's a crapshoot, and they use X, Y excuse, which, once again, I hate these excuses. These other teams, I mean, you talked to Joe Kelly when he was on the Dodgers. What he said is that they plan for the postseason. They don't plan just to get there and we'll see what happens. They plan for the postseason. They'll get a guy who has a bunch of injuries and injury history, and they'll tell him, hey, bro, we don't even need you for the regular season. We're going to sit you. We're going to have you on the 60-day IL for a super long time because we know that we don't need you to be available to 162. We need you to be available for the 16 games we win in the playoffs. That's what we need you for. We need you ready for that. That's how those teams operate. That's how the Blue Jays are going to operate from now on. That's how the Dodgers operate. That's the reason why they're so successful in the postseason. And the Yankees just don't have that vision. They play for 162. And to me, that's not the way to do it anymore. They have a system. I think Michael Kay said this for a while. They have a system that allows them to be successful in the regular season and then see what happens. That's not how this goes right now. And point number
not to cut you off, bro. You're going to be able to beat the Twins and the White Sox and the Orioles.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to do that, but you always have a Boone June swoon, and then sometimes that leaks into July, and then when you get to October, you have Trent Grisham leading off every freaking game. He's swinging at the first pitch. He's grounding out, popping up, striking out. And then you don't have anybody around Judge who finally, and I called this, if you listen to WFAN, shout out to Cowboy Boo in the chat who says, Keith, we miss you on WFAN. Love you, bruh. I said, what if this is the year after Judge failed in the World Series, right after he dropped the pop-up, after he was swinging out his shoes, striking out? What if this is the year where it's not that big for him? This is the first year of him having dad strength. He had his daughter. What if this is the postseason where Judge actually finds it? What if this is the postseason where Judge actually goes out and hits 400, hits a 3-run bomb off the foul pole, does hit some singles, some doubles, and get on base? He's not going to have anybody around him. He's going to have Cody Bellinger, who had some garbage time hits and homers, and now wants $37 million a year for 7 years. He's going to have Ben Rice, who Ben Rice had to sit, but then the first pitch he saw, he hit out against the Red Sox, then did nothing else. Jazz Chisholm, who really didn't do much, missed me with Anthony Volpe and Austin Wells. You know what I'm saying? The Yankees don't have enough, but here we are in an offseason where they say, we're good. We got it. We're good. We're good.
Yeah, and I have one point that I wanted to make. Why are more teams not interested in Bo Bichette? I think one of the biggest points is if Bo Bichette was such an attractive piece, Toronto would have re-signed him already, right? The best team that knows Bo Bichette is the Toronto Blue Jays. And as we know, or as we have heard or through grapevines, they don't even want him back that bad. So
not at that price. Not at the price that he's looking for at his age. And they don't see him as a true shortstop.
Yep, he's getting injured more. He's going to play third base or second base. He's just not. He's a depreciating asset. So that's why teams aren't as interested in him. And they're looking at that situation where the Blue Jays aren't really too worried about getting him back, and they don't feel like they need him. So why in the world would anybody pay $200 million for Bo Bichette to be on their team? That's what they're seeing right now. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, in terms of what they need to do or whatever, just get Bellinger back, get a pitcher, get a bullpen piece. I get if you don't want to do anything else, but we need to see some motion here, because right now, as we've talked about past 30 minutes or so,
they think they're better than they are, bro. They think they're better than they are. They go to sleep at night and they say, we have the highest attendance in the American League. We have the American League MVP. We have the 2023 AL Cy Young coming back. We have Max Fried. We have Ben Rice. We have Jazz Chisholm, who had a 30-30 year. We believe that Trent Grisham is not going to turn back into a pumpkin. We believe that Jason Dominguez will take a step forward, or maybe Spencer Jones. We're good. We got enough. Belly, they probably miss out on, because Boris will find one team that's willing to go 6 years, or one team that's willing to go $35 million. I believe the Yankees are at, I think they might have gotten up to $32 million for AAV, but no more than 5 years. There's supposedly opt-outs and a signing bonus and all this other stuff, but they have stood pretty firm on what they believe the value is for Cody Bellinger, and they're not going to bid against themselves. Whatever. I'm over it with Belly. Let Dominguez figure it out, and Spencer Jones be the fourth outfielder. I know he can field the position, and if he can take a step forward versus him freaking
ugly stance, bro.
Yeah, with his knees and. You see that video that he just put out of him swinging? It's like, damn,
bro, he looks ugly. You
look hurt. You look like you're in pain, but whatever. They're trying to make him the lefty Judge. Run it. Who's going to play shortstop? Jose Caballero? Miss me with it, bro. I'm telling you, Jose Caballero is going to be annoying AF. You're going to be over it. After the first 4 series of watching Jose Caballero as your everyday shortstop, you're going to be over it. He's either going to get thrown out of a game or he's going to do something stupid on the base pass, get thrown out on the base pass. He's just he is best suited as a utility guy. He is best suited coming off the bench. He's not an everyday player for a reason. That's why Tampa is yeah, whatever, take him. They believe in Anthony Volpe to a fault.
Yeah.
where like I'm
He's
telling
elite.
you,
He's elite, Keith.
yeah, like Boone, like I'll never get over that one. Boone getting so mad in the press conference, like he's freaking elite. Like they told us the same thing about IKF. Like the Yankees live in this world where, like, I get it, I know because I've gotten very close to them. The Yankees live in this world where they've told themselves so many lies, they believe it. They live in this world of like, no, we're good. No, you're not good. Like you're good, but you're not good enough, not for your own standards, right? You know how many people called me on WFAN and say George is rolling over in his grave, and I say let the man rest, but like George would be pissed off if a younger version of George time, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here. Boone would have been fired. Cashman would have been fired. Heads would have rolled. Who knows? Things would have changed for sure because the standard of excellence, which is the New York Yankees in this market with all the resources and all the fans and all the money they generate, like the New York Yankees are supposed to be in the World Series way more than one time in 16 years, and they embarrassed us in that one time.
It's time to stop losing in New York. Whether we saw what the Giants just did to land John Harbaugh, whether it's the Knicks the past couple of seasons, whether they're turning things around, and we need to see that same level of aggression, that wanting to improve from the Yankees as well. And, we got 10 more minutes here. I don't know if you have anything more to talk about the Yankees, but I want to talk about a little bit of basketball these last 10 minutes here. You have a situation now where the Knicks, they're almost hitting a dead wall here. Right? They are, it's a situation where can they win with Cat and Brunson, right? Do they need to trade for Giannis? I think the Giannis trade is fairyland stuff still, but like, where are they at this point? And because right now it's not looking all that great.
Yeah, this is the post NBA Cup hangover still. This is Karl Anthony Towns. You know how it goes with Karl Anthony Towns. They love him, then they hate him, then they love him, then they hate him, then they love him, then they hate him. And right now they're hating on his ass. Jalen Brunson goes down, and you're kind of searching. Josh Hart was out for a little bit. Like they have depth on this team, but they've had some injuries on this team. OG was out for a little bit. Deuce McBride was out. Shamet started off good, and he is out. The Tyler Kolek stuff has kind of calmed down a bit. Mikal Bridges is what he is. Like, they have the talent under Mike Brown to make a run this year, but I just don't see it. And I'm not a Knicks fan, but I'm not as much of a Knick hater as I used to be. But what I hate is the just crowning of them. Championship. They're winning it all. And it's like, you don't just win a championship. You have to build towards it. And this team at this state right now, like we're coming up on the trade deadline in less than a month. Are they going to make a move for somebody? Are they going to get some of these guys out of here? The expectation with Mike Brown, you fire Tom Thibodeau, Mike Brown's got to go win the championship. He's got to get to the finals at the very least. And it's just a high bar, and they're going to need everything to go right. They're going to need everybody to be healthy. And what everybody's talking about now is, okay, Brunson leaves the game. And I saw people talking about Brunson with the Kobe's, and we know like his story with Kobe giving him the shoes, and then he gets his own signature Kobe Statue of Liberty edition pair. But Brunson's always got an ankle. He's always got some lower leg injury and has to leave the game. And when he's down, Karl Anthony Towns is not like that. Like Karl Anthony Towns is not. He hasn't ever been the guy. He's always been the guy with another guy, even when it was him and Ant-Man. And then they added Gobert. And then it's like he comes over here because you need a big. And there's some nights where he can drop 40 and he's the best shooting big man you've ever seen. And he can get to the rack. But then there's other nights like last night where it's like, womp, womp, womp. So there's still a lot of questions. There's still some people that want Giannis here. I feel like James Dolan came in, and this is the last thing I'll say. I'll pass it back to you being the Knick fan. James Dolan came into WFAN, and he basically poured cold water on the Giannis thing. I think they like the guys that they have. I don't think that you can expect any massive trades. I don't think they're about to bring Dante DiVincenzo back. I think they like the core, the nucleus they have. And then also, when he was talking about that NBA Cup banner, he said, we're going to raise a banner, the NBA Finals banner, and I think he mushed it. He touched some money, and that's tough. That's on wax now, and there are a lot of Knick haters out there, so as soon as the Knicks lose, they're going to pull that up, and they're going to have that clip of Dolan on Craig Carton's show talking about we're going to raise the banner, and they're going to play the Curb Your Enthusiasm music, and they're going to laugh, and they're going to troll, and they're going to say, nope, the Knicks are still the Knicks.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think you nailed it though before talking about Karl Anthony Towns. Like, he is not the guy, and he's paid $50 million like he is the guy. In the second half yesterday, Keith, you didn't have Jalen Brunson, and Karl Anthony Towns shot 3 times, scored 0 points, and had 4 personal fouls. Like, what am I watching? And you talked about it as well. The Timberwolves needed to trade for Jimmy Butler to play with Cat.
Yes.
And then the Timberwolves needed to sign Gobert to be with Cat. And then they needed to draft Anthony Edwards.
Number 1 pick. They need another number 1 pick.
Like, Cat is obviously not the guy, but he's paid $50 million to be the guy, and he's not that. And if you're the Knicks, you're in a situation where he's locking up your cap space. He's locking things up, and I don't even know what his value is on the trade market. I don't know if you could get $50 million worth of good actual assets back for Karl Anthony Towns unless it's with a team that's not playing as well. Do the Bucks, even if that trade even happens, do the Bucks even want Karl Anthony Towns?
Hell no. They're booing Giannis now. Hell no. They don't want Cat coming through.
And that's what I'm saying. So, like, it's a situation where the idea was good. I will say this. For the Knicks, the idea was good to trade for Cat because you had Mikal Bridges to be that wing guy. You had Cat to be that stretch big to work in the pick and roll. But right now, Jalen Brunson and Cat don't work well in the pick and roll. Mikal Bridges isn't the perimeter guy that we thought he was going to be. He seems as soft as ever I've seen from Mikal Bridges. Like, we need more from this Knicks team. You spent all that money on OG Anunoby. I love OG Anunoby, but there's times where he seems completely checked out as well. And when you contrast the Mike Brown and Tom Thibodeau, I would always say that Mike Brown, yes, he is the guy that more of the players are going to like, but I don't know if he's the guy that more players are going to play harder for. We saw what Mikal Bridges did at the end of the Boston Celtics series. Me and you were at Yankee Stadium watching Game 2 together for Game 2, and we saw what Mikal Bridges did at the end of that game. Like, it is not going to be that way this year. I don't think they fight as hard for this guy, Mike Brown, even though I think they like him more. You understand what I'm trying to say there?
Of course. And I just think in year one, with the bar being you got to win the finals, you got to get there, it's too much of a ask, and everything's got to go right. But we'll see how it plays out, because I always say this about the NBA. Guys get hurt, so the favorites don't end up being the favorites at the end, because it's a long road. It's a long way to go. But I think the Knicks right now, I don't know how many games they've lost in their last 10. They're kind of fading right now after the NBA Cup, where everybody's like, well, damn, look what they just did. They just brought a championship back to New York. I know it's a Fugazi half-season Emirates Cup championship, but you go win that, because you go through those motions of this is what we're supposed to do. Tonight they'll face the Warriors out there at the Chase Center, and they'll probably lose to the Warriors. I don't know if Brunson's going to play. Steph Curry's going to play, and I don't know.
It's a rough spot. The Knicks are 4-6 in their last 10 games. Definitely hitting one of those mid-season kind of bumps here. A couple minutes left here in this live. Once again, thank you all for joining here. We got almost 800 people in here. Thank you all. If you're seeing me for the first time, follow me at the Playbook on Instagram, TikTok, at Gabe Zoda, here on X as well. Keith McPherson, all of his stuff. You're probably here because of him. So keep on following him. Show him the love that he deserves and he needs more of. But, hey, where do you want to finish off, man? Where do you want to finish off? I know you want to talk maybe some trades, MPJ, John Morant.
Yeah, Are the Nets still in the league? It's never worth much with the Nets, but I am a Nets fan, and what I'll say is, I watched the game last night. I watched the game against the Grizzlies. I watched the game against the Magic. The Nets right now are perfecting the competitive tank. They compete the whole game, and if you're a fan rooting for them to win, which I am, I don't think you can actively root for a tank. There's no fun in rooting for the team to lose. You want to see them win games, because I honestly don't care where that ball bounces. We don't know. They ended up last year tanking, and they were 8th overall. They got Yegor Joman, and we're like, who the f is this kid? And he's actually been pretty good. But Michael Porter Jr. is averaging 25, 26 points a game. He is a valuable piece. And the last thing we saw was that the Nets weren't sure whether they wanted to trade him at this February 5th deadline, or if they wanted to see where the lottery ball bounces and trade him in the offseason. A lot of people were thinking the Warriors, who the Knicks will face tonight, would be interested in MPJ. And there was a report that came out today that the Warriors are not interested. But he's got a ton of value. He is a microwave scorer. He is instant offense. He can get his shot. He's 6'10". He can rise up over anybody. He's a hooper. He's like that. He was a Gatorade All-American Player of the Year and all that other stuff. He had some injuries. And he's hitting Ice Spice right now. So good for him. But with the Nets, it's just like, keep losing these games. Keep getting good experience for guys like Danny Wolf and Drake Powell, Nolan Traore, and your other rookie, Yegor Joman, because you draft 5 rookies. And I remember saying, at least 3 out of 5 of these guys got to pan out. They're getting good experience behind Jordy Fernandez. And then the other guys that have been there for years, like Cam Thomas and Nick Claxton and Day'Ron Sharpe are mixed in with the Noah Clowneys, the Jalen Wilsons, like whatever. The Nets have a team right now that like they are what they are. There's a lot of talent coming up in this draft. They're trying to trend towards being, in the top of the draft. And if I look at this right now, like they're picking 5 right now. So who knows where they're going to end up? I think if they keep losing games, if they do trade off MPJ, they'll be in a good spot.
Yeah, I think maybe the Lakers.
Don't get Ja Morant. No Ja Morant.
Oh,
you saw him beefing with Williams. You see the video of I don't know.
Williams, I think his name is. Or
Vince Williams. Was that staged?
Don't play with Vince Williams. Nah, bro. That's real. Bro.
It was just like
that. He does not mess with that team, bro.
Yeah, they got to get him up out of there.
But if I'm another team, I don't want him. I don't want that. You think I want that on my team?
He bought a crib in Miami. I forget who it was like, he's going to be good with the Miami Heat. Like, whatever. We'll see. But Ja Morant to Brooklyn, no thanks.
Yeah, I'm good, bro. And I even heard somebody say about the Knicks, I'm good too. I'm good there too.
No, bro. This is a gat toting, pistol holding. You don't want those problems in New York. The gun laws is. No.
But my favorite thing was he did that when he was toting the gun as a celebration. He goes up to like rehab. He has that show. He has that special. What was it like with Ryan Clark or Emmanuel Acho, one of those guys. He does this like sit down and talk with them, and then 2 days later he's throwing grenades. like he didn't learn nothing. I don't blame him, but like he didn't learn nothing for real. Whatever.
He's the best. He is the best. He is a gangster in his own mind.
Good player though.
Could be a good player. Could really help somebody, but no thanks for the Brooklyn Nets to give up anything to get him. So,
any last thoughts, Keith?
We're rolling, man. Appreciate everybody that checked out the stream. Click like, subscribe, all of that. Gabe and I will do this again. We'll try and do this on a more consistent basis. This stuff will get clipped and it'll go out. It is the new year. Just sending everybody positive vibes and energy. Chase your dreams. Go after what you want to go after and do what you got to do. And thank you for supporting us today.
Once again, you got Keith's socials there. You know him. You're probably here because of him. But hey, if you liked how we vibed, if you want to see more of me, let Keith know. Follow me. You have my stuff down there. Follow at the Playbook on Instagram, on TikTok, at Gabe Zoda on X. If you want to follow my boys up at BTO Media, that always help me out as well. Their socials are up at the top. So hey, if you want to see me more, just let them know and we'll do this again. But once again, thank you guys so much for hopping on. Always good talking about the sports world outside of New York, inside of New York, always stuff to talk about. And until next time, guys, I cannot wait to see you guys again.
Later. We out.